Started. I know the economy's a little slow.
He's got from.
The economy's a little slow and charities are starting to hurt for money. With Scott getting married, the single mothers of Philadelphia are going to be suffering. So I just want to leave this tip jar here. If you find it in your hearts, put a couple dollars in there. Sorry, it gets better. First of all, on behalf of Scott and Jen, I want to thank everybody for coming. I know a lot of people traveled from New York, Washington. Welcome to Philadelphia, home of the World Series champs.
Yeah.
On behalf of everyone here, I want to thank Scott and Jen for putting together this day and inviting us all to it. Everything was perfect. And Jen, you look beautiful today. I hope this whole day was everything you wanted it to be. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Stu. Recently, these guys gave me a new name, the Dragon. I'm not sure where it came from. But the groomsmen you see, we really are a bunch of brothers. We might fight and argue, but we are like family. The family we created, and the women seem to always suffer for it. I've known Scott for about 25 years now. Scott's like all of our older brother. We've all gone to Scott for advice and guidance. It hasn't always been the best advice, but it's always entertaining. Jen, you'll be fine in this relationship as long as you remember the two most important things in Scott's life: sleep and the Eagles. My man's lost jobs and relationships over both sleep and the Eagles. Me and Scott live together at different times in our lives. When you live with Scott, you have to learn to tiptoe through the house until about the crack of noon when he decides to get up, if he gets up early. When we were in high school, if the Eagles lost a football game, Scott wouldn't go to school the whole week. We wouldn't even see him hanging out on the street. I think he would actually sleep the entire week until the next game started because he just couldn't face seeing people with an Eagles loss. Thank God there were no bye weeks back then. The only thing he does get up early for is an Eagles game. And unfortunately, Jen, you got married during football season. So this means that in future anniversaries, your husband's going to be spending your anniversary with me, probably watching an Eagles game at the link. Scott's love for the Eagles supersedes any other passion he's had in life. Back in 1992, I joined the Marine Corps. And about a year later, Scott decided to join the Officers Candidate School. And his goal was to follow me from base to base so that I would have to salute him constantly. He just loves busting our chops, and he actually did go to the Officer Candidate School. And his job was going to be to become a jet pilot. He wanted to fly either, I guess, Harriers or the Marine Corps. He would have easily achieved this goal, but the Officers Candidate School gave them weekends off. So he leaves, where was it, in Quantico? He gets a weekend off and he comes home to Philly. Of course, he was in during football season. So he came home to Philly on the weekend. He was supposed to be back at base on a Sunday, sometime on Sunday. You guessed it, there was an Eagles game on. Scott decided to stay and watch the game. He never went back to base, and I never had to salute him. He gave up a career as a Marine Corps pilot for an Eagles game. And did they even win? Was it a preseason game or regular season? A preseason game he gave this up for. And they weren't even a good team back then.
Always.
I got out of the military in '97, and around that time, me, Scott, and most of these other groomsmen, we became roadies for the supergroup Monkey Bus. Our groupie friends from media, who we met during that time, put together a special gift for Scott that I want to give him now. Tracy and Dana got this together. Richie actually downloaded most of the People's Guest book. This is a Bible of our drunken insults to each other. If you're weak, if you're easily disgusted, don't even look at it. This is hours of entertainment. No matter how much Scott would bust our balls, he always had the most patience, compassion, and generosity with all of us. He really is a voice of reason most of the time when he's sober. If you never ditched the military for an Eagles game, you might not have gone to law school, and you might not have ended up in Washington, D.C., where your life with Jen began. So remember, Jen, don't get upset when Scott wants to watch an Eagles game, because it was an Eagles game that indirectly led his life into your life. I'm glad I never had to salute you in the past, but I'm proud and honored to salute both of you today. So please, everyone, raise your glasses. Here's to a long, beautiful life. I love both of you. Flip the switches on.